So we're continuing from where we left off in the Secret Brotherhood of the East, Mysteries of the Secret Brotherhood of the East, Chapter 10, Meeting of the Seven Sages to make laws for the coming age for the nations of the earth. Now, when the sages were refreshed, they opened up the book of life and read. They read the story of the life of man, of all his struggles, losses, and gains. And in the light of past events and deeds, they saw what would be best for him in the coming ages. They knew the land of law and precept suited for his estate. They saw the highest Allah ideal that the race could comprehend. Upon the seven postulates, I don't know if everybody's familiar with postulates. I might want to look that up, but it's insignia. Upon the seven postulates, the sages were to formulate the law of life of the coming ages, of the coming age, that the soul may rest. Now, Mignet, in a couple, 3 chapters ago, or maybe 2 chapters ago, they talk about mixed, I guess how you pronounce it, M-E-N-G-S-T-E, Mingesti.
It says postulate, suggest or assume the existence, fact, or truth of something on the basis of reasoning, discussion, or belief.
So in this case, upon the seven so the sages were to create 7 postulates for the race to come to help them ascend, just to generalize what's going on, right? So upon the 7 postulates, these sages were to formulate the law of life of the coming age, that souls may rest. Now, Mengistu, which, like I was saying earlier, he's a sage in what they call China or Manchuria, was the oldest sage. He took the chair of chief and said, man is not far enough advanced to live by faith. He cannot comprehend the things his eyes see not. This was his examination of human beings at the time. If they could, these human beings that he's observing, if they don't see it, they don't believe it. They don't, all this higher energy, and they're not believing none of that. Everything carnal. So based on that, quote, he yet is child, and during all the coming age must be taught by pictures, symbols, rites, and forms. That's where we get the glyphs, right? Where we get the symbols on the ancient ruins. Things on scroll. Papyrus, things on papyrus paper. Telling things on stone, right? Telling stories. The stele.
Have you ever heard of Chief Joseph?
Chief Joseph?
Yeah. He was a real chief from what's it called?
Rukin?
His Pierce tribe. Or what they call the next Pierce tribe. But he actually had a uniform on script.
Okay, yeah.
And, he kept around and said that they passed it down from generation to generation from that tribe. It was one of the ones, and he's from our area.
Yeah, man. So there you have Amaru Islam. Happy Holy Day.
Happy holiday.
Happy holiday.
So far, like you just corroborated, we're talking about sages that are processing where humans are at on the earth plane, and based on that, what needs to take place. Ali Khan, Islam, happy holy day.
Islam, happy holiday.
Day.
So it's examples of this everywhere, like the brother just said. You know, it's on the ruins, it's on scrolls, and it's meant for the beneficiaries to get caught up to speed. Don't gotta waste no time. So and then once they comprehend the fundamentals early, they can focus on taking the culture further. They ain't gotta waste time 20, 30 years trying to figure out fundamentals. It's there for them. That's the whole purpose. So humans can continue to advance intellectually, swiftly. You gotta leave behind some things, technological and intellectual property, however you want to call it, whatever you want to call it. Right. So he's making a statement. Man is not far enough advanced to live by faith. He cannot comprehend the things he sees not. His eyes cannot see. Let's go down to 7. His God must be a human God. He cannot see Allah by faith, and he cannot rule himself. The king must rule. The man must serve. The age that follows this will be the age of man, the age of faith. In that bliss age, the human race will see without the aid of carnal eyes, will hear the soundless sound, will know the age we enter is the preparation age, and all the tools and all the schools, must be designed in a simple way that men may comprehend. So this is a evaluation that, and I know I'm probably butchering his name, but Mengistu, the sage of Manchuria, this is his evaluation so far. Based on men just believing what they can see in their carnal form, he's saying, you know what? Signs and symbols. This is how we're gonna have to, erect this in these people's consciousness moving forward. Give them, for the next generation. The age 12, and man cannot originate. He builds by patterns that he can see. So in this council, we must carve out patterns for the coming age. Carving out patterns, signs and symbols, blueprints, schematics, instructions on how to do things for the beneficiaries. So it's not hard. They don't have to go through what we went through or whatnot, etc. Right? And we must formulate the gnosis of the empire of the soul, which rests on 7. Rest on 7. Each sage or sage, in turn, shall form a postulate. Postulate, we just looked it up. Postulate is something, like it could be a carving, it could be an expression, and it's looked at as a fact based on it came from a sage, it came from a high priest, and the people were looking at that like, okay, that's the law, that's the merit. And y'all can look that up yourself, postulate, so you can get a sense of the context of this, first of all, what the word means, and then the context of the word in this sentence. So each sage in turn shall form a postulate, and these shall be the basis of the creeds of men until the perfect age shall come. When Mengistu wrote the first, quote, all things are thought. All life is thought activity. That's a Hermetic principle. My mind goes to man is mind. The multitudes of beings are but phases of the one great thought made manifest. Lo, Allah is thought. Back to Hermetic principle, my mind goes to man is mind, or the etymology definition of man, to think. Either way, that's where my mind goes. Allah is thought, and thought is Allah. And if man is mind, that means man is Allah, right? Then Vinyapati, which when you look, Vinyapati, he's if I'm not mistaken, a Hindu sage, wrote the second postulate, right? Postulate. That's why I say look it up. The postulate is going to be sprinkled through here. And if you don't know what it means, be honest with yourself. Just look it up. Internal thought is one. In essence, it is two. Intelligence and force. So eternal thought is one, but in essence, it's really two. Intelligence and force. Thought is intelligence and force. And when they breathe, a child is born. This child is love. And thus the triune or Trinity, and thus the triune Allah, talking about a Trinity here, stands forth, whom men call Father, Mother, Son. This triune Allah is one, but like the one of light, in essence, he is seven. Seven. We talked about seven up here. Talk about seven again. What is a seven? What is the seven? And when the triune Allah breathes forth, lo, seven spirits stand before his face. These are creative attributes. What are these seven creative attributes? Where is our divine faculties taking us? Where's our mind taking us? Men call them lesser gods, and in their image, they made man. And Casper wrote the third. So now we're transitioning to another sage. Casper, I believe, I'm not mistaken, a sage from like quote unquote Greece. Right. This is what he said. So he wrote, another sage is writing a postulate. Quote, man was a thought of Allah, formed in the image of the septonate. Oh, if you don't know what septonate is, an intelligent being would look it up. But in summary, we're dealing with 7 different vibrational tones. It's deeper than that. I just summarized it. Clothed in the substance of soul. So we're dealing with 7 so now we know vibrational tones, and we're talking about the 7. What could we be talking about? What could we apply that to? And his desires were strong. He sought to manifest on every plane of life. And for himself, he made a body of the ethers, of the earthy forms. And so he descended to the earth plane. In this descent, he lost his birthright, lost his harmony with Allah, made discordant all the notes of life. Inharmony and evil are the same. So not being in harmony and evil are the same. Because what does it take for things to be in harmony? When you ask yourself that, I think it'll be clear why that makes sense.
What's like what the higher and lower self conflicting with each other?
That could be one, yeah. Internal harmony, internal peace would would be based on decisions, either way, yeah. Which would cause a result of harmony or inharmony. But yeah, peace and harmony is peace, peace and harmony, I would say, is a synonym, or they're synonymous, right? So I think when you say Islam, you would be saying harmony.
Mm.
That's what kind of, you know what I mean?
Mhm,
That's
mhm.
a creed. You want to say it's a creed or a way of life, then that's what is was being strived for. But let me.
Well, is in Islam,
Mm,
know if I'm ready to have that type of conversation with my 6-year-old. They feel they can't even do arithmetic.
yeah, I think she keep hitting the phone on accident. But yeah, you finna say something, Quasicoda?
yeah, I said, it's in Islam derived from Isis. She was the goddess of, what's it called, balance.
ISIS? You say ISIS?
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, the Temple of Isis.
she had what's it called, the scales.
Okay. Mayat. You talking about Mayat?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Libra.
And- yeah. Yeah. Okay, let me finish these last little lines up. Ashbina wrote the fourth. It's another sage. Seeds do not germinate in light. They do not grow until they find the soil and hide themselves away from light. Man was evolved a seed of everlasting life, but in the ethers of the triune Allah, the light was far too great for the seeds to grow. And so man sought soil of carnal life in the darksomeness of earth. He found a place where he could germinate and grow. The seed has taken root and grown fully well. Tree of life is rising from the soil of earthly things, and under natural law is reaching up to perfect form. There are no superficial acts of Allah to life of man, from carnal life to spirit blessedness. He grows as grows the plant, and in due time is perfected. The quality of soul that makes it possible for man to rise to spirit life is purity. So to rise, to use the terminology to rise, is basically saying to ascend. And in order to have purity, you're dealing with the same harmony bracket. You're in a harmony, typically people that are pure are at peace. And that peace is just coming from decisions they're making along the lines, along the road, and people sometimes got to make tweaks, and yeah, but ultimately after a while, you're just gonna see where a person's at in the moment. You might meet them for the first time, and you just see how they act, where they at, and it's based on decisions they made, whatever, however they are. That's what it comes down to. And you're gonna make decisions where it's gonna be harmony or in harmony. And we all have that choice to create a certain type of atmosphere or whatever. We have a choice for all across all of the above. We have a choice. But I want to open the floor and have a discussion about chapter 10.
Really powerful session right now with the dean and the elements.
How's Leon?
Islam.
Islam.
A lot of this is bringing up music for me. The tones, 7 tones, and then being in harmony. It all sounds like music also. So it's like when you're playing multiple notes together, they call it chords in some cases, and they have to play in a chord or in harmony to give you that sound that doesn't sound like it feels like it's cringing you, or it opens you up versus shutting you down versus the type of effect.
Tuning in the music, tuning in your guitars and all that.
Yeah. Oh, and Islam the Humble Bay. Happy Holy Day. And I believe I said Happy Holy Day to Amaru.
Islam.
No.
Happy holiday.
Islam.
But yeah, in a chord, right? So we're dealing with harmony, and they mentioned 7. I mean, 7 is mentioned throughout this chapter multiple times. I went to chakras,
Yeah.
and they all got their own vibration. That the chakra is a vibrational wheel in itself, energy wheels, and they just gotta be unlocked based on things that we do. I like too, like the evaluation, because we all, well, anybody else have any thoughts that they wanted to share about chapter 10?
Well, just to add to what you're saying, with the chakras, like you said, they're spinning, so there's a rotation per second type of thing going on, and the faster it goes, or the more that it rotates in its harmony, it's going to have a certain sound. Just like you turn on a vacuum, a blender, or whatever, they all rotate to a certain level and they hum or make some kind of sound. So once again, each gate has to have its tone so that they all can sing together, and your body makes this music using your organs and your glands to sing God's song, right? It's like Lucifer singing like I said, he had all the voices at the same time and all that. That's basically what's going on.
Yeah. Tones, vibrational tones. And we know certain vibrations heal, we know that. That's definitely, but vibrational tones are considered medicinal.
Mhm.
They can heal you.
That brings me back to the organ tones. That's how they used to be able to heal. That's one of the ways. If they wanted to heal one of your systems, every organ system has a tone. We have 12 systems, they all got a tone. So they would put you in a room or use a device that has a tone for basically your ailments, and they would bring you back up to harmony. So then you would feel at ease instead of dis-ease. And then they had the personal aunts I was talking about before that were attuned to your whole frequency. And those were supposed to keep you in alignment also.
That's fire right there, man. Yeah, man. Certain jazz and things like that, classical, just kind of being around it, like a whole day of Beethoven or something like that. And just kind of just seeing where your energy go, your thoughts, your thought process, kind of analyze how it's different from how your typical mind state is,
I ain't gonna lie, I be bumping Mozart when I be reading,
Mozart, oh yeah.
Word up.
Yeah, man.
Islam, I wanted to add too, as far as like the refreshment and the recharge energy that Brother Roswilon was talking about. I was looking at the numerology too, chapter 10, like the binary system, the 1 and the 0, like learning how to turn the body on for certain energies and learn how to turn it off for new ones. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that whole computer concept, you know what I mean, of our system, Islam.
Islam.
Yeah. And recharging too, knowing that, you know, well, Leon, you all right, man?
Yeah, sorry. Just tapping in.
Yeah, man, I feel you, man. It's like that sometime, man. But yeah, man, even like the brother said, like a computer, you're gonna have to shut down. You know what I mean? Like, and not shut down, but recharge because or get rest. Basically, that's the bottom line. Get rest. To be charged up to be operating on all cylinders when you in the public or whatnot, or when you want not necessarily in the public, just whenever you want to use your mind for something, whatever you want to do, whatever that may be, you just want to be charged up so you can put your all into it and perceive things. Like you can't tap into certain signals when you're not alert on that level. You got to kind of feeling good to be tapped into certain things, like but yeah, it's a beautiful thing just to be conscious of all these things that we're talking about. Because when you say, when you say we're conscious, that's what we're supposed to be conscious of, things like this. Just to have that title, I'm conscious. Conscious of what though? That's the key. And it never stops, we always learning. So any other we held back. I think hit the restart button, man. Kyrie, Islam, happy holy day.
Islam, everybody. I just want to hop on real quick, just tell everybody Islam, happy holy day.
Islam.
Islam, happy holiday.
Islam, happy holiday.
Islam, happy holy day.
But yeah, we conscious. Any other thoughts on chapter 10 before we transition to astral diagnosis? All right. Okay, so we've covered a lot in this book. As you can see, we're on page 204. Once again, this is Astral Diagnosis by Max Wendell, dealing with medical astrology, diagnosing dis-ease based on chemical makeup, cosmologically, getting your chart done, etc. So now we're in a section dealing with diabetes. We're dealing with a female born December 28, 1885, 11:55 p.m. The patient in this case is suffering from diabetes, a disease which the food is turned to sugar in excess of the requirements of the body. And this product is eliminated in the urine. Here we find Jupiter on the ascendant in the sign of Libra, which governs the kidneys, conjunction and parallel Uranus, and square the Sun and Saturn, the latter in the sign Cancer, which rules the stomach. We also find that the Sun is square the Moon in Libra. And we all should know with these terms, square, conjunction and opposition, but as we know, inharmonious, like we just read in the previous book. Inharmonious will be square or 90 degrees of separation. Friction, tension, not in harmony. We also, okay, I just read that. Thus, it is very evident that the stomach and kidneys are the weakest link in the chain of the body, and therefore we may look for disease in these organs. Jupiter afflicted and on the ascendant denotes one who is too fond of good things to eat, a glutton. The conjunction with Uranus tells us that this person is not satisfied with quantity alone, but desires her food to be superfine in quality and to be excessively seasoned. Saturn, the planet of obstruction, being in Cancer, the sign governing the stomach, interferes with digestion. Because remember, Saturn dries up the water. If y'all remember the theme all through this book, wherever Saturn's at, it's shrinking up the liquid. So in this case, it being in Cancer, right? The sign governing the stomach. Remember what we're dealing with, right? Remember the topic, right? Kidneys. So consequently, the food cannot be entirely assimilated. And some of it must be expurgated or, I said that right, from the system, or it will cause a clogged and poisoned condition. Jupiter has rule over the liver, where the sugar usually required in the economy of the body is manufactured. But he is sorely afflicted by a square of Saturn and the Sun. Consequently, this activity is abnormal. And as Jupiter is placed in the sign of the kidneys, Libra, he allows the sugar to slip out in the urine, thus giving rise to the symptoms which we diagnose as diabetes. There's also a throat affliction because Neptune is in Taurus, the sign that governs the throat, afflicting Venus, the ruler of Taurus. So this is just a visual of this chart. When we look to the inner causes of this disease in our endeavor or attempt to remedy, we note that Saturn is elevated and afflicting the Sun and Jupiter. This makes the person morose and irritable, given to looking upon the dark side of life and to finding fault with everything and everybody. The ductless glands are centers of important spiritual activity. The ductless glands are centers of important spiritual activity. And afflicted Neptune in Taurus and an afflicted Uranus in Libra interfere with the activities of the thyroid gland and the adrenals. So as we can see, it lives true. You know, typically wherever somebody's having a problem in the area, throat, it's gonna be some Taurus being afflicted. You know, kidneys, Libra. So it never fails. Before such a person can be really cured, she must experience some kind of shock or be taken into an entirely new environment and more cheerful surroundings. A healer with Gemini or Aquarius rising whose Saturn is not Pisces, would probably have the most beneficial effect. Diabetes next. So I'm gonna open the floor. Let's have, how y'all feel about this chapter? The kidneys. All right, so
Islam. I don't know if you mentioned it, but when you look at the chart, what did they mean by the 7G in the middle?
this one, right? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, because when, like, say when we're reading, they'll reference 7G, like, so like the model 7G or example 7G.
Oh, okay. I thought it was something else. Okay.
But hey, but on some spiritual divinity, like whatever, it's like a tarot, like what comes to you, it's still in play. It ain't like, don't just shut off. whatever
Word.
thought
Yeah,
you
because
were-
I got a lot of little different downloads just from seeing that. You know what I mean? Just thinking about our insignias and our emblems. It just, I don't know, that did something for me.
Circle 7,
Right. The logos.
you know what I mean? Logos, I'm like, right? There you have it. Yeah. Can't make this up, man. Anybody else had any thoughts on this astral diagnosis piece? Circle 7. All right. Well, if there's no thoughts on that, we'll do a light. As a matter of fact, let me turn the recording on.